Welcome to the LightTwist Show, where we spotlight the most exciting builders and creators in virtual production, computer vision, and spatial computing. I'm Vikas Reddy, founder of LightTwist.
And I'm Phil Nelson, the co-host with the co-most, the second banana who is second to none, your plus one and only. And our guest this week has made some awesome mixed reality projects, including using some metahuman tech from Unreal Engine to bring our favorite heroes in a half shell to life. Isn't that right, Vikas?
Yes, indeed. Today we'll welcome creative technologist Brielle Garcia to the show and see some state-of-the-art AR filmmaking tech and maybe play some video games, perhaps Ninja Turtle based.
Maybe. But first, the questions.
Hey. Welcome, Brielle.
Hey, guys. Glad to be here.
Yeah, super excited to have you on. And we've been, one of, Brielle, I guess you're one of the many people I met via Twitter during maybe we're still in it, the pandemic zone of 2020 through 2021 and beyond, perhaps.
It's my least favorite Sonic the Hedgehog level pandemic zone.
Yeah, it's just continual.
Yeah.
We're super excited to have you on. We always start the show with 7 rapid fire questions, including a replicant check, just to make sure, because you can never
be too careful.
Never be too careful, and especially with you, since I've never actually met you in person. So let's get started.
A lot of people I haven't met in person.
Yeah, for all we know, you could be a replicant or a virtual construct. So let's see.
Cool.
All right. So first question, Brielle, what is currently on your desk right now?
An original iPad.
The OG one?
The first one.
Hokey smokes.
Wait, hold that up. Let's see that. Let's see that thickness on it.
That is.
Yeah.
Thick with 2 C's.
That's like the same size as like a MacBook Pro at this point. Awesome.
Yeah.
Close.
What was the last TV show you watched?
I've been binging On Cinema at the Cinema with Tim Heidecker.
Nice.
Tim Heidecker is the shit. Have you listened to his record?
I haven't yet, but I mostly have had the whole series running while I've been working. So I've binged like 9 seasons in the last week, and
all right. Well, what was your first job?
First job that I was actually employed for, I was a graphic designer in high school for a department store. I was like in-house at their making $5.50 an hour, making like newspaper ads and stuff.
That's impressive. You had it in high school already, or you already had a graphic design job in high school.
It was like mowing lawns.
Mainly it's just because I knew how to use Photoshop, and that was really all you needed.
That's true. If you were a cyborg, what would your optimal human to machine ratio be?
Probably half and half.
50-50? Would you go for invisibility or power of flight?
Probably invisibility. That seems more useful.
Nice.
You're the first person to take invisibility. I like it.
Yeah. Is a hot dog a sandwich, Brielle?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Right on there.
All right. So standard question to confirm whether you're a replicant or not. You're in a desert walking along in the sand when all of a sudden you look down and see a tortoise. It's crawling towards you. You reach down and flip the tortoise over on its back. The tortoise lays on its back, its belly baking in the hot sun, beating its legs trying to turn itself over. But it can't. Not without your help. Not helping. Why is that, Brielle?
I would help the tortoise, so I wouldn't have done it to the tortoise in the first place. So
I think that's a pass.
I think it's a pass. Yeah, that's a solid pass.
Probably not a replicant.
Yep. All right. Awesome.
Maybe.
So in the show we love to talk about the past and the present, but before that we wanted to talk about some of the projects that Brielle's been working on very recently, and so first up is this incredible effort to turn essentially to build a new way of creating film and video. And so, yeah, Brielle, do you want to talk us through what you're what you're working on here, and yeah,
Yeah.
how you put together and everything else?
First, allow me
Yes.
to say cowabunga.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this particular project is part of like my uh, efforts this year to push the envelope in like virtual production, character animation, and trying to uh, kind of reduce friction for a lot of these different things that I work on because I do animations and character stuff for different clients, and it can be pretty time consuming, especially if you need like a fast turnaround, and sometimes for like goofy memes, like you just need speed over anything else. And it's like,
Close. You need close enough instead of perfect.
yes, yes. And the dream is being able to just point a camera at someone and animate a character in real time with no suit, no anything. You just point, shoot,
Mhm.
and so that's kind of what I'm exploring here with the Ninja Turtle project. I've uh, made a really high quality scan of one of the figures and rigged it up and was trying to see like I was exploring it at the high end and the low end, working on like using Snapchat, which is like super frictionless to like shoot and animate, versus the quality I get in Unreal using like my full motion capture suit, and then trying to bridge these worlds. And I'm still in the midst of trying to figure out what's going to be the best path forward, but that's kind of the dream here with what I'm working on in uh, Snapchat in particular is I want to make a high quality animation tool that is as easy to use as just what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just point and
Yeah,
shoot,
it's
and
Yeah.
yeah, and it's it's are you thinking about the way you envision this evolving? Do you see it as more somebody else filming, sort of a filmmaker filming a person, or do you see it more as a individual tool where you film yourself and uh, you are able to then both have the real time aspects, but maybe even have some post production? Yeah, like how are you thinking about that workflow?
Yeah. I'm kind of looking at it from both angles. I think my first focus is if I'm a director, filmmaker, I want to like, what does that workflow look like? So if I have talent that I'm filming and I want to control like make camera adjustments or lighting in the scene, can I do that at the same time while I'm filming? Essentially, I want to turn your device into a virtual camera that has like control over like your aperture and your lighting and
Yeah,
all of this. Uh, yeah, but also it'd be nice to if like turn the front camera towards you, capture a performance yourself,
yeah.
and then you can put that performance into the world space and then be the cinematographer for your own uh, performance. So
right.
that's on the
Sort
roadmap
of
too.
produce after you've captured.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
cool.
think yeah, what's interesting is that, when you have like a virtual character that you're controlling like this, yeah, you could either be controlling the camera in real time like you're doing here,
Hmm.
or even like you can do arbitrary camera angles in post production since it's like a fully 3D. It's
Hmm.
all in game engine, right? So
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
um that is pretty it does create this like freedom, yeah, of camera movement, something we're exploring a bit with LightTwist as well. But yeah, we also started more on the real time side because I think it does
Hmm.
it gives you, I think, like part of it's like the feedback too, and just like I mean, just I'm just watching this video. It's just incredible. Like it's just like, all right, we got somebody's got to do. Let's do some audience applause here because this is just too good
Yeah.
to.
And is this one of the toys from like the Ninja Turtles movie toys from back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Well,
good ones.
it's a re-release,
Right.
or it's a new release based on those original designs.
Because those
And
were the best ones.
yeah, and so I bought the one in this video. I spent probably, I was right at $200 to buy it, because
Dang.
it's not a standard action figure. This one is like 2 feet tall,
Oh
Oh
wow.
wow.
and because I wanted like a super high quality scan.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's a
So all
great.
the other toys that I'm scanning are like 6 inches, but this one, I wanted it to be really special.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
a, that's a
the
hell of a raft you've got there.
yeah, the quality looks really good, and I think this was I think was this one yeah, do you want to talk us through like your workflow for producing this? Like what were the different steps, and like what tools did you use?
Yeah, I use a bunch of stuff. I think that I scanned it a bunch of times because I was trying to figure out like what's the best way to do it to keep like the most amount of detail, and uh, I ended up going with the AggieSoft meta shape for the scan, because
Hmm.
they gave me the most amount of control. I could have used like reality capture, but I already paid for a license for AggieSoft, so that's just kind of my go-to for the high-end stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes the best tools, the
so,
tools you got already.
yeah, and it's got some really good like just optimization, decimation tools, and uh, then when I like retopologize it, I can bring that mesh back in and then rebake the textures onto that new UV. So it's a really good workflow if you're needing to do all of this type of extra work. Um, but I manually like took the scan, used what did I use to retopologize? I forget what I actually ended up using. I was testing out Cozy Blanket on
Oh
iPad
yeah.
and manually draw out, because I was trying to use it as an opportunity to get better at certain aspects of manually doing things, instead of some of my other. Since it wasn't like a perfect humanoid like face and everything, I wanted to just get better at doing a lot of these different things. And yeah, so I think I've used like every program at some point on the
On the capture
Michelangelo
side.
here,
Yeah.
because I used ZBrush, I used Cinema 4D. Cinema 4D is like my primary 3D tool. I use Blender for, got a bunch of plugins that are only in Blender. Um, yeah, and for his face blend shapes, I manually like just sculpted a bunch of ones trying to mimic what the original animatronics looked like. 'Cause I really wanted to replicate the movie as opposed to
Yeah.
what would his mouth actually do,
Right.
trying to form some of these phony shapes and stuff. So
And then did you already like for the motion capture did you use the a suit for it, or did you was this all Snapchat lens
this
tracking?
bit,
Yeah.
this video is all Snapchat
Oh nice.
tracking. It's using some new code that I put together for smoothing out some of the uh, jitteriness that you would normally have with the markerless body tracking,
Mm-hmm.
and it really helps a lot. Just adding an extra smoothness layer, and it also keeps it if your limbs go like out of frame, like the arms don't start
Jerking around.
Freaking out.
going crazy. Yeah,
That's cool.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
And then was this actually filmed within like the environment itself? Was that all like did you import that into Lens Studio just to in like a low poly
yeah,
enough way that it could all just run on device?
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
That's cool.
So what the video there, like all of that is just straight captured out of Snapchat, no extra processing. The environment was baked out of Unreal. I have a number of like high poly, high quality assets and using Google Seurat to bake out the environment and the lighting. And
yeah,
Yeah.
you weren't kidding. You did use a lot of tools on this.
Yeah.
There's so much.
That's really interesting.
That's awesome.
Learned a lot.
Yeah,
No,
we've also got a Kong figure.
yeah.
for the
Let's
video,
go
I
over to
believe.
let's unlock the Kong here.
And so
And
for my own edification here, is that Mike or Raph? I can't. It looks red.
This is Michelangelo.
So it's orange then. Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell either. I was like, I thought it was.
I didn't want to get messages about how I called the Ninja Turtle the wrong name, because I will fight somebody over that shit. I swear to God.
All right, here we go. So yeah. Let's talk about the Kong here.
Yeah. I was pretty happy how this is turning out.
It's a similar process.
This was a similar process. It didn't take as long because I didn't do a manual like retopology, and the figure, like I scanned it with like it had its mouth open already, so it was kind of ready for rigging in that respect. This figure is pretty big and scanned really well. The next step I want to add on this is Snap has hand tracking for both hands right now, and I want to add that into like a character that has enough fingers to
big ass hands
track to.
Yeah, well, you do the gimmick with a toy of the lady from King Kong.
Oh yeah, actually,
yeah.
You should totally mix this with the other demo you did with Marilyn Monroe. Have her be the person that's like being held by Kong.
Perfect.
This is pretty
synergy with that new fictionalized Marilyn Monroe movie that's coming out.
Yeah, I think it's pretty incredible. I mean, it's just like some of the stuff you're like, this is stuff that would have taken like probably like, I mean, 20 years ago this would have cost like $1 million to make.
Probably. And a team of people.
Yeah, it'd be like a team of like 50 people, and it would take even this level of fidelity, which like obviously like I think the Ninja Turtle ones was even higher, but like that would take like so long. And then now it's like even 10 years ago, arguably this would have been pretty hard to do without like a suit and like a bunch of motion, like all the stuff.
The motion tracking is a big is a big deal. Because I've been working in visual effects and animation for a while, and each year some of these things just get more and more accessible. Because I've been trying to do like low budget motion capture for a long time, and there were a lot of difficulties and a lot of things didn't work well, or but it feels like more and more things have been coming together quicker. So the last 2 to 3 years have just snowballed for me of like things building on one another, and
I mean there's definitely this trend, and we'll talk about like future later maybe, but there's definitely some interesting trends, and both on the computer vision side and on the game engine side, and even just in VFX and 3D assets. So really excited to get there. But first let's start with the past. So maybe let's move on and talk about really just curious, like how did you get into this whole world of spatial computing, AR, VR, virtual production? Like was there like a moment that you like sparked it for you, like first project? How did you get pulled into this world?
And also tell us a little bit about your personal history with the Ninja Turtles.
Well, I grew up on the Ninja Turtles. That was a big deal when I was a kid. I didn't have a ton of toys, but I had a number of the toys. I would watch the cartoon every weekend. I'm old enough that we still had Saturday morning cartoons. So Ninja Turtles were always a big deal for me. But I got into AR stuff kind of. My background was in film and animation, and that was always what I wanted to do since high school. And So I spent quite a few years trying to like break into that field, trying to make a living, doing that. And I was working as just, I've done my fair share of like making local TV ads and uh, for pennies and just
Hmm.
trying to make a name for myself. And yeah, but I've always been like really interested in the technology side of things and trying to figure out faster ways of doing things, easier ways of doing things, like what new stuff like makes my life easier. And the big turning point for me was I started, it was kind of seeing what like Snapchat was doing, even in 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
I started seeing more and more things being done on mobile in real time that took hours to do in post production. Like
Hmm.
camera tracking is a huge one. Like doing a match move in post production,
Yeah.
especially then, was pretty challenging. Certainly, face tracking was like
A very
extremely difficult.
very fidgety manual. You're moving like geometry and stuff around nodes by hand, right? Like to make it just so.
Yeah, or yeah, putting tracker dots like on your face and
Hmm.
trying to like manually track those.
Frame by frame.
Yeah, I've attempted it all, but I started seeing more and more stuff being done in real time, and I was like, why am I like, how can I use this to make my life easier?
Yeah.
The biggest turning point was AR Kit and AR Core in 2017, because I was already doing some like VR experiments because that just has always interested me. I had a DK1 and
Hmm.
was always like making some cardboard demo and like just handing it to people like, hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. And yeah, so I started doing some demos with those tools in 2017 and posted them on Twitter. And Snapchat reached out to me, um, and they were like, "Hey, we're working on this new tool. Would you be interested in like testing it before it's released?" And I was like, "Oh, absolutely!" Like
Yeah.
even then, I could recognize like Snap was doing something special.
Hmm.
Um, and so the I got to use Lens Studio before it was released to the public, and it was kind of where that all kicked off for me. And yeah, a few years later, I took a my first engineering job at T-Mobile, working on their immersive engineering and just getting to work on. I still had like side projects and clients for making social AR things, and it just kind of
Yeah. Went from there.
snowballed to I uh, struck out on my own, and yeah, it's just been exciting to see where things are going, where the tech is,
Yeah.
what it's allowing me to do, what it's allowing me to like do for my clients, and um, yeah, it's just super cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, I mean, just, yeah, I've been following even before like we connected on Twitter and, and like actually met up, but like, it was, yeah, just been following just like the demos you're putting out like over the last couple of years, been pretty incredible to see just like the various parts you're exploring and I guess, yeah, pretty recently, I think maybe over the last, how recently was it that talking about what you're doing now, like you started your own business essentially, doing like you're essentially on your own, independent, consulting on different types of projects. Like, yeah, like what has that been like, and what types of clients are you either working with or looking for?
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's a lot of it's certainly been the result of a pandemic. Of like just we were all at home. I had a lot of time, and uh, like I have ADHD, and like sometimes that can be like a real hindrance. But having the time, I was like, I'm gonna just like let my brain explore. Like what do I find interesting? And like sometimes that would lead to nothing. Sometimes it would lead to cool demos that like where it's like I can't go to bed until I finish this thing because like it's too exciting. I need it. I need people to see it. I want people to see it.
A rare and wonderful feeling. You kind of got to ride it until it gets done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it also means my sleep schedule is terrible. But that's yeah. Yeah. So it's but I kind of went independent this year because I was kind of it was kind of catching up to me. I was like, I need to be able to sleep. I need like a better balance in my life. And I
Yeah.
was like, what do I want to do? And I was at a comfortable enough spot where I can go independent and uh, free up more time for experiments because I wanted to, I really wanted to get better at like this character design, character animation, and um, I wanted to explore more with like machine learning and uh, how I could do more, how I can incorporate that more into like the visual effects pipeline. And yeah, so I've talked with a number of different companies and clients this year. Some have led to things, some have just been like interesting conversations. Number of different ad agencies, companies directly, film studios, production companies who are they're seeing what tech is enabling, and so some of these conversations have just been like wanting me to help translate. Like, can this uh, can this work for them? Could this like help in their pipeline? And so that's part of what I'm trying to explore with like my personal experiments is like what clients can benefit from this, what uh, size productions can benefit,
Yeah.
and
What have
yeah.
you found in terms of like I would imagine if it's like a large film studio or like a super high budget film, like they
Hmm.
have the army of VFX people, like even without the best tools necessarily, or they have the
Hmm.
all of the time and dollars in the world. But is there like a sweet spot you found with studios where they're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a perfect fit
Yeah.
because yeah,
You would think that they have all the money,
yeah,
and the parent companies might, but
Yeah.
the people and groups I'm talking with don't necessarily always have it, or they're looking for are there ways that this can be used to help like, cut costs, or
Mm.
because sometimes the most expensive part of anything isn't the VFX, it's getting talent on location.
right, right,
Right.
And it's like uh, a lot of interest I've gotten from people has been surrounding like deep fakes and like
Hmm.
especially now that like ILM has pushed more into like using it in their productions.
right, right.
Other people have taken notice and are like, oh, well, what can that help us? Or can we get like pickup shots or actors that can't necessarily come to this country or whatever the scenario is.
Yeah,
Yeah, like you need one shot from one person that,
Yeah,
it's either fly them 2,000 miles and do all this stuff, or just kind of fake it. And,
yeah.
yeah,
it's,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's interesting to think about what I saw just recently they're using Earl Earl Jones James Earl
James Earl
Jones like
Jones.
agreed
mhm,
to he's basically not going to voice Darth Vader going forward, but they've got enough archive tape that they can like generate his voice, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is like
well,
yeah.
the funny thing is they like that was what they already used that on the Obi-Wan show.
Oh,
Like
did
that
they?
was
Mm.
yeah, they were using Reese feature already.
Oh man.
But now they just formalized like that they have it. Um, which the interesting thing about that, I can't wait for more of the behind the scenes to come out from that show. Because the interesting thing about Reese feature is that it's a voice to voice
Oh, so somebody was
system.
puppeting it.
So somebody had to act.
Yeah. Well, what I really think would be amazing is if it was Hayden Christensen doing the performance, but then
That
the Darth Vader voice, which is just like,
would be
of course,
interesting.
this would
Oh
be
man.
perfect.
Yeah.
But I noticed something was different because like I remember what James Earl Jones sounded like in Rogue One. I was like,
Mm.
it sounded like
Yeah,
he
doing
didn't
it.
sound like he did in the 70s, which
He
is like,
sounded 80
of
years
course,
old, which he is,
yeah,
Yeah.
or
yeah.
90. Like, yeah.
But then I noticed in Obi-Wan, I was just like, this sounds like this sounds like A New Hope. This sounds like Empire.
Mm.
I checked the credits. I was like, oh, there it is. That's
Wow. Oh, so they actually mentioned it
um,
in the credits. They said,
Mm.
yeah. They credit
Interesting.
Reese Feature, or but they say James Earl Jones as the voice of Darth Vader, but then you see later it's like Reese Feature tech was used, and it's like,
ah, okay,
yeah.
Mm.
okay. How like, how do you see, based on like what you've seen in this whole space of like virtual production, how do you see indie filmmaking evolving over the next like 5 to 10 years? Like where, what are the
Oh,
trends you see? Like what different types of experiences will be possible to create?
I
Yeah.
think it's so like exciting and scary and cool, and it's for every cool new thing, there's also like stuff that's like, maybe we should take our time with this.
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
Like I get conflicted at times because I do think it's really cool that it's all of this tech is enabling smaller and smaller productions to have higher and higher production quality
Yeah.
and
Mm.
access to things that you couldn't have done 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Especially in the realm if you're doing like character animation, motion capture, like that's always been prohibitively expensive. I I know I've tried. I was trying to do like a teaser for like a TV pilot 7 years ago at a job I was at, and the tech just wasn't there. I was trying to use like some connects to do the capture, and just like it just wasn't there yet. Um, I'm just super excited by what is going to be possible. Um, I certainly have seen it in like my experiments, especially this year. Like uh, Unreal is making a big splash.
Yeah.
They're really leaning into this whole idea of they realize, oh, a lot of people are using this for virtual production.
Yeah.
Let's
Hmm.
like we can own this space by just making it easier. And Unreal 5 is pretty big shift in everything. Like it feels like everything I've always wanted out of a rendering system.
Yeah.
It's real time. It's global illumination. It's like ray tracing. I can light an environment the way I would an actual set,
Yeah.
and
Much
the
like the
light.
one we're in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
it's as like I did cinematography for a long time, and so like I'm familiar with how to light a scene, and
Hmm.
it's interesting how much of that carries over in even though I don't use real cameras very often anymore. It's all uh, the same stuff. Like I can set my virtual sensor size and my lensing, and like
Yeah.
I know what all of this does, and it all reacts the way I expect it to. Um, and it's I just think everything we're seeing is going to get faster, better, cheaper.
Yeah.
Um,
Better quality, like better render quality for sure. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I'm
like
curious, like,
that's kind of what I'm trying to converge is like, okay, we have the like complete reduced friction that comes with like the Snapchat pipeline,
yeah,
but obviously you have like certain platform limitations and tech limitations. Um, because doing some of the stuff in like Unreal is a challenge. Like it doesn't have like this easy body tracking built in or camera
right.
tracking, and so yeah, I'm kind of exploring at both ends. Like, can I make Snapchat render better? I've been writing some like custom shaders for doing depth of field, and I've
Nice.
been trying to figure out ways of like the biggest thing I need is like self shadowing on characters and
Mm.
stuff.
Mm,
That's
interesting.
the big thing that's a big thing that's missing with
Lens
with
video.
Snapchat right now.
You get that. You
And
get that in Unreal, I think, already, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But then with Unreal, I'm also exploring like what type of like markerless motion tracking, face tracking.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, which one will get better
Yeah. Quicker.
quicker? Can I make
Yeah.
Snapchat look better faster than I can make Unreal
Easier to use.
easier to
Yeah.
use?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, we're
I'm
kind
not
of betting.
sure what.
We're kind of betting on the. Yeah, we're betting on the Unreal side, and then like doing a bunch of software to like make it easier to use. But it's
Mhm.
yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely like pretty powerful, but there's definitely some rough edge. Or there's definitely a lot of stuff where you're like, there's a lot of friction unless you have like the knowledge and talent to like get in and figure stuff out yourself. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it'll be incredible to see. I think. Do you think like in terms of like virtual characters, like there's obviously there's the whole animation side, which is already like it's already all virtual characters. But do you see like what trends do you see there? Like, do you think more and more regular videos will get like will start using virtual characters?
Um, I do think we'll see more of that, but I think there's always a place for like real people and like people that you can connect with on that level. Um, but I did find just the aspect of like doing like streaming as a virtual character like more appealing than like streaming as myself.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And there's some talented people that I've worked with that have been really interested in doing like branching out of doing more than just like characters that they look like
right.
and
Right.
uh, broadening what they can look and sound like. And uh, I do think it, like I say things are getting easier, but I don't think it's ever gonna be like too easy. Like where there's still some amount of work that goes into like using any of these systems.
Yeah,
Not least of which because there's such just a variety of humans. Like
Yeah,
everybody looks a little bit different and is shaped a little bit different and moves a little
yeah.
bit different, and you're
It's like
always
even as good as like the metahuman system from Epic is, as soon as you get into like customizing, like you really want to like do custom hair, do custom clothing. It's like
yeah,
the difficulty ramps up
Mm.
real fast. As
yeah,
soon as you get out of that little garden they have of hairstyles, um, the difficulty gets pretty significant.
Mm.
And uh, I don't know that within the next 3 to 5 years that is going to change too much. Like I do think certain areas are going to get easier, but overall, it's character design and character animation is tough.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I would bet like it'll be interesting. I bet that'll be like bit more and more in demand as far as
Mm.
having skill with uh I guess yeah, this combination of like because yeah, virtual production kind of touches both game engines and
mhm.
like aspects of computer vision and graphics obviously, and so and then yeah, even like VFX techniques. I could see that skill getting more and more like that could be its own, I mean, it already is its own job, obviously, like well, tons of people work in
Mm.
that field, but like I think I could see that being a growing field if there's just way more demand. There's probably way more demand already than supply of people that can do this kind of stuff. Um, would be my guess
Well,
even
and
already.
there's some of it. It seems like there's also the worry of like poisoning the well, as it were,
Hmm.
by doing a bad job. Like there was that whole controversy with FN Mecca
Oh yeah.
earlier, that augmented reality rapper that, like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, for myriad reasons was a bad idea, and also apparently they lied a bunch about it. So maybe not. Do you think that that danger, that poisoning the well, as it were, do you think it will stick around and kind of slow things down here, or do you think that they'll just have forgotten about it in a couple of months?
And I had already forgotten about it.
Yeah.
It took me a second to remember what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
I think the lessons stick with us, but as far as remembering what the thing was, people have pretty short attention spans.
Mm.
Yeah.
I want to just focus on like making cool stuff, stuff that I like, stuff that I know people are gonna like, and just trying to demonstrate like this is what is possible, and hopefully encouraging other people to get into this. I've had a number of people reach out saying just like I have inspired them or the work I've done has inspired them, and that means the world to me knowing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
No,
feels good every time.
I know.
it
I mean, I'll
does.
say, yeah, definitely buy that. I mean, it's definitely, it's yeah. Just watching all the stuff you've been putting out, it's definitely inspirational. And sometimes I'm like, how is she doing all this with all
Yeah.
the crazy? Yeah, I'm just like the rate of production of just awesome demos has been incredible to see. So,
A really high rate of holy shits per post, I
yeah,
would
yeah,
say.
exactly.
I give a lot of credit to Snap for that. Like Lens Studio lets me make cool shit really fast.
Mm.
And so part of like what I do is like evangelizing that of like this really isn't that hard to do.
Yeah,
Or
Mhm.
that might be I probably end up downplaying stuff that's like easy for me now because I've been doing it for so long.
yeah, yeah. I always,
But
I
I
always end up
want to
doing.
demonstrate to people like a lot of these like scans I'm doing. It's like it's not anything special. Like you have a phone,
Yeah,
you have like the little turntable I bought was $20.
Mm.
Like you can do this. Anyone can do this. Um,
Just
yeah.
takes time.
I do wonder if there's like I think people need like this. There's like a creator switch that needs to like be
mhm,
turned or something because like I don't think it's. I actually think everybody has the capacity for being a creator or like builder, but like
mhm,
certain people just don't have that. They haven't had that like spark moment yet, and
mhm,
I think yeah. But even by putting out what you're doing, you've probably already helped turn that switch for people where they're like, oh, I could. They went from being like, oh, I love watching those movies or like watching animation, but I could never do it myself. But then
Mm.
I think when with like people like yourself that are like putting out these demos, like talking about how you do it, talking about the process, being open and sharing it, like I think it can help turn that switch. That's probably what we're hoping to do at LightTwist too, is just get more people
mhm,
able to, in some sense, democratizing like storytelling and like teaching and like all these things that are it's all often like locked beyond you've got to have like a lot of dollars to put on like a high value
yep,
production.
Mm.
But I think that's going to be that's the part that I'm most excited about. I'd say like is just that's going to change drastically, and then you'll basically be judging people on the quality of their storytelling or their creativity,
Mm.
and not like, hey, they were good at raising money for their film, or they were good at
yeah,
and so I think
Therefore,
that's
it's bad, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah. Well, no, there's
yeah. That
something about
was
all of this that really like speaks to my DIY kind of punk rock roots of, if you can't do it yourself, can you really do it? Probably
yeah,
not.
yeah. That's awesome.
yeah. All this all kind of reminded me of like what got me into visual effects in the first place was when I discovered like Star Wars fan films in the
Mm.
early
Mm,
2000s.
yeah,
I started realizing like, wait, other people like are just doing this on their computer.
yeah,
I was like, what is this After Effects? And yeah, that was kind of a hallmark moment for me was just kind of seeing what other people were doing. And so,
yeah.
uh, if I get to be that for a new generation of people, like that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, play it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on
Like
that,
I owe Andrew Kramer of Video Copilot, like I owe my career to that man, like because he was just so like forthcoming with like making
Yeah,
awesome
the
tutorials
After
and
Effects
like
guru.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and so I kind of I want to bring like his philosophy like and pay that forward because like he gave away so much knowledge for free just because like he was excited about it and thought other people would be excited about it. And yeah, so it's like, am I helping encourage and train competitors in my field? Like, probably, but is the world a better place
Yeah.
for it? And I think so.
Yeah. 100% agree. And
Great way to put a bow
awesome.
on that.
Well, on that note, maybe let's switch over and think it's time to play some
Yeah,
video
do you want to play
games.
some Ninja Turtles?
Okay.
Also, I am calling Donatello.
All right.
Okay,
Right.
fine.
You'll allow it? I appreciate it. You're being very magnanimous, Brielle.
Okay, so I think I'm in the party now.
We're good.
Neil,
Yeah.
reporting live.
All right. Okay, I'll
Down
do.
it is. Push
I'll
up,
be,
down to choose your character.
So you're gonna be Donatello. I'll be. I guess I'll be Michelangelo.
All right, let's roll.
I really like they added April and Splinter as
Mhm.
playable characters in this one.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
What's on the news? Okay.
I don't know what unlockables there are. Like, is there the Bebop and Rocksteady? Like,
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I haven't played it enough to know.
Who was Krang the? Was Krang always the mastermind
the
guy, or was there
brain.
like a word? No, Shredder, obviously. I guess, yeah. But was there like a? I always forget if there was like a
It's been there since the
mastermind.
beginning, though.
Was there a mastermind behind Shredder ever, or was it always just Shredder was the bad guy, pretty much?
Jaw-breaking news.
He's the big bad, the biggest of the bads.
Yeah.
Jaw-breaking news.
So a Snapchat lens that's been on my list for a long time to make has been like
Vanish.
a Krang filter that
Oh, hell yeah. That'd
puts
be
your
amazing.
head where Krang sits.
Oh, sweet. So we've got.
Oh,
sorry.
nice. That'd be awesome.
Sorry to interrupt you there. We've got River City Ransom mechanics here. So when they bounce off the screen and hit you, they will do damage.
Nice.
Oh, if they. Oh, I see.
So you can juggle them too. I'm willing to bet that if you get somebody off the screen and then jump just at the right moment, you can probably keep whooping their ass in midair,
Nice.
which is one of my favorite things in video games.
The only way to beat certain bosses
That's
in
right.
Battletoads.
Oh,
yeah,
God,
and some of
Battletoads,
which
that was
were actually not possible to.
Yeah, I still
complete,
never.
if memory serves.
At some point, maybe when I'm quote unquote retired, I will go back and try to beat Battletoads.
Well, there was one version that it was actually impossible to beat because of a bug
Oh, really?
in the game. You couldn't progress past a certain area. I'm trying to remember which one it was. They
There's
patched
one
it,
that's
but-
especially difficult, even on emulation.
Hmm.
Because there was the level, it's like the next to the last level in Battletoads, where you're on like holding on to like some lollipop looking spear thing, but you have to have nearly frame perfect inputs.
and on NTSC.
The lag
look.
that gets introduced with emulation is a bit
Hey, computers!
makes it tough.
It's
at these
exactly
guys.
what it looks like in the rendering for the LightTwist show. That's what's happening behind the scenes. These guys.
I love that they're just working on computers here, just like
Well, I mean, somebody has to do the taxes for the Foot
evil
Clan.
guy, evil henchman, just like us.
Yeah, somebody has to do the taxes for the Foot Clan.
Yeah.
I
One
mean,
of my
they
favorite
have office buildings.
one of my favorite scenes from the Batman animated series is the Joker talking about like paying his taxes to the IRS. But he's just like, basically like, you don't mess with the IRS. Like, of course I pay my taxes. Like, that's how they get me.
Yeah, you learned from Al Capone. He knows.
Yeah,
what's going on.
he knows the.
One of the many ways in which the ex-president is dumber than the Joker. Man, the guy, that was a hell of a bounce. Sorry about that. That was me.
Wait, how do you? So what are you talking about the bounce? Like when you?
When you smack them off the wall there, you can kind of baseball bat them again when they come back at you if you time it just right. Like they're not quite as bouncy as Kunio-kun, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like April's animations here, where she kind of swings. She swings the
got like a
mic
mallet?
like a sledgehammer.
Oh, it's Rocksteady. I know, is that Bebop?
That's Bebop.
Okay.
Bebop. Rocksteady's the Rhino.
Rhino.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Idiot. Sorry, Vikas. Also, if you get behind people, you can do a back throw. I don't know if I mentioned we.
Oh yeah, okay. So
mentioned
you
that
can throw them
yet.
at the screen if you. So if you do down, if you press down on the direction pad and then press Y.
Also,
you
this
fling 'em.
kind of looks like The Simpsons.
That's true.
So you can fling them at the screen. That's a throwback to the original arcade Ninja Turtles arcade game.
God, I still miss the. Was it Super Nintendo? The one with Oh yeah, Turtles of Time was Super Nintendo, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was. That was a
a
really
great
good
one.
game. Surprisingly good.
Yeah, that was a great. That was the. I mean, that was one of the best.
Much
these
much
types of
better
games.
than Tournament Fighters, which was a real turd.
But yeah, they
I
had
think
like.
Turtles fighting game would be
they had that.
an easy win, but it sucked.
I was remembering that they
I
had
just
that like.
played that.
I believe my brother still has our cartridge version from when we were kids.
Nice.
Just
Yeah, I
remembering
just
that.
bought the Cowabunga collection. I've been playing most of those ones that I missed or couldn't afford. Tournament Fighters is one I'd like to have on cart, but it's a bit pricey.
What was that a Turtles game? Tournament Fighters?
Yeah, it was a fighting game. It was sort of like they were
Street
looking
Fighter?
at, Street Fighter's popular. Let's do
Yeah.
a Ninja Turtles Street Fighter, and it was bad.
I'd say the NES version is impressive. That NES really didn't get many good fighting games.
They did an NES version. I didn't even know that. I remember it. For
Yeah.
Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Oof! Yeah, it walked right into the dude.
Most of the only
Yeah,
fighting
use those
games on
super
NES
moves.
were like the bootleg knockoffs that came years
Well,
after.
the original Street Fighter did come out for NES. It was called like Street Fighter 2010 or something like that. And there were just the two characters. They were just palette swaps of each other. It was Ken and Ryu.
I'd be hard pressed to call that. Yes, it was called Street Fighter, but it was
Literally
not
called
really
Street Fighter. Yes.
Wasn't really Street Fighter though. That game is brutal.
Yeah, it's not good. It's very bad. Not fun to play.
NES is kind of my jam.
NES, yeah.
Yeah, I have them. I have a pretty
we almost got him.
Famicom collection over here.
People got him down.
Nice.
Outstanding.
Heck yeah, achievement unlocked.
Fortunately, I was doing most of my collecting before. Back when you could buy them for pennies.
Yeah, you're telling me.
I think I bought Action 52 for $3.
Dang.
Wow, that seems fake.
I bought Earthbound for $10.
Wow.
At a pawn shop.
With the box or just the cart?
Oh no, just the cart.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I have a pretty decent.
That must have been
Famicom
2005.
And like we're talking, Mario's like $7.
Yeah.
Now, and that's insane. That used to be a $1 game.
Well, yeah, I have like 30 copies of Mario Duck Hunt because like it was essentially worthless.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
When you would buy lots, it would always be in there.
Yeah, it was still like my I still remember getting that. My dad being like, once you beat Mario 1, you can get Mario next one. Although I think I skipped 2 and went straight to 3.
Well, you're lucky we didn't get the Japanese 2 because you just never would have beaten it.
God.
Yeah.
It's a very mean game.
I think my favorite thing was my dad telling me as of like 2 years ago about how he for a couple days after he bought Tetris for me, he stayed up all night playing Tetris and like called in sick to work. It was like, and my dad is like,
very straight laced.
He's immigrant, he's an immigrant, first gen immigrant. Definitely not the type of person you expect to do that, but
it makes me think of the Warren Zevon song "Johnny Strikes Up the Band." It was a deep cut for the Zevon fans out there.
Oh, Big Apple, nice.
Streets of New
So
York.
I think probably my craziest retro game find was the in-box Virtual Boy that I got for $8
That's nuts.
at a Goodwill.
You're looking at like $250 these days.
Oh yeah. So I had that one professionally like modded, so because like the screen starts the
They
ribbon
burn out.
tail on the LEDs like over time just kind of gave up. So I had someone permanently repair that.
Is there a flash cart for the Virtual Boy or not?
There is, but it's
Wow.
hard to get.
Is it an EverDrive one or something that they go on sale like once a year and there's 10 of them?
Yeah. So I have nearly the entire Virtual Boy library, or North
There's only like
American
20.
library.
Yeah, there's like 20 games
It
total.
was like 15.
Yeah.
I used to have all of them, but I needed money a few years ago and sold Jack Brothers, which is like the most valuable one.
What's your favorite one that you played on Virtual Boy? If you had to like power rank the Virtual Boy games, what would be S tier on
Wario Land is really good.
Wario Land really saves a lot of Nintendo portables.
Yeah. So Wario Land, every time I play it, I'm like, this gameplay works in like, you don't necessarily always need like a crazy big immersive environment. Like, I think a side scroller in VR like is compelling. Like, there's something about this.
A side scroller in VR.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you
like
can
something
jump
that has
back in
something
between
that has
and
some depth. Just something about that immersion. So Wario Land is the best game on the Virtual Boy. Jack Brothers is actually really good too, and it's a shame because no one gets to play that one because it's so expensive, and it's one of those like that does use the Virtual Boy well because it has multi-layers and the depth is a part of the gameplay that you're just not going to get even just like emulating it, which is how probably most people are going to play it. Teleroboxer is really good.
I've heard good things about that one too. That one seems fun. I've never gotten
That's
to
like
play
the
it.
only one that uses both D-pads. Oh, there's another one called, I don't have this one. I wish I did. But it was only released in Japan. It's I think the English title is like The Mystery of Innsmouth.
Oh, is it Lovecraftian?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a first-person horror game where it's kind of got these mazes that you're trying to navigate.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm surprised.
What's that? That's on the Virtual Boy?
Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I've had like a half-baked VR like a port of that. restarted a couple times. So I was like, this game is cool and compelling and like
bring it to bring it to regular VO to like Oculus or something right now. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. I'm surprised we don't have more like detective-y type games like that because that's really, all the best Lovecraft stuff is somebody stumbling upon stuff either through looking too deeply into something they should have let go, or by sheer accident.
Yeah, I also think like visual novels. Like I think there's an untapped genre for VR with like visual novels.
That for sure.
Even if you could, like I've looked into like porting like the RenPy engine to VR, and then could you like build stories on top of that? Because like visual novels are really compelling, even though most of the time it's like just a flat sprite. And it's like,
they're
what if it was
a very popular genre in
3D?
Japan.
Yeah. And it's like, well, what if it was 3D and like you're sitting there and it's almost like a stage performance of things, and how compelling could that be in VR? And
we were talking to Alex.
I think there's something there.
We were talking to Alex last week at having you about because they're doing like live plays like Christmas Carol and stuff. And what was interesting is like part of it's like some of the characters are pre-recorded, but then some are live, and so that was like a really interesting like. I mean, like you could imagine that being like maybe even like a pre-recorded sequence, and it's like a whodunit or something in like a
Yeah.
house setting or something, right?
Yeah.
Or like actually like Murder on the Orient Express, but like
Sure.
you know, as a. In fact, wait, did they already
Do
do
a
Myst or
Perot.
Riven on Quest yet?
Not sure.
That seems like it'd be a.
Mist is on Quest.
Is it okay? I wonder what it's
Yeah.
like. Yeah, I guess I should try it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's cryptic.
Yeah.
It is Mist.
It's Mist.
Yeah.
But it's what I remember Mist feeling like back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Even though
Well,
like,
that style
it
of
did not.
game, it's interesting. It was one of the most, popular games ever for a while. Like still one of the best-selling PC games ever.
Yeah.
And like, oops, sorry. And how do I like? Can somebody save
Oh,
me or what?
how do
I'm out.
Oh no, no, are we all?
Oh no.
Do we just die?
Yeah,
Oh wait, no, we're back.
We're so close.
Come on, get him. Yeah, this guy's pretty
Yeah,
tough.
those bombs are brutal.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how to avoid them exactly.
Just jump,
Yeah.
as David Lee Roth would say.
Might as well.
That's right.
Oh, I think we got him. Nice.
Nice. Ready, getting ready. Rock steady.
Wow, he turned his Donatello's turned his stick into a pogo stick. Well, it was yeah, it was super fun to have you on, Brielle. It was yeah, not just the awesome video game we just played, but yeah, super inspirational to hear your background, all the stuff you've been working on, and for the audience, we're actually working on something pretty cool with Brielle as well that we'll probably be putting out there in a couple weeks or so. And so yeah, excited to see that, and yeah, thanks again for joining. It was great to have you on the show.
This was a lot of fun, Brielle.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Vikas, who's our guest next week?
So next week we've got Amit Shah from Luma Labs, who's been, they're working on some amazing neural rendering tech for objects, spaces, and just a whole bunch of stuff around there. So an awesome team they put together, and Amit's yet another person I met over Twitter in the 2020-21 that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put this episode will go live on Thursday on YouTube.
Thursday.
Yeah, Phil, any last thoughts?
This was a lot of fun. I'm always happy when we're able to talk about Ninja Turtles on the show, and so I think we might need to. The fact that we can do, I think, up to 6 players on that one, we might have to make that a regular feature and maybe bring back some previous guests.
That's true. Yeah, we could do like
a nice game sesh.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll sign off here. Wherever you are, make sure to take care of yourself, take care of each other, and have a great day.
Take care, folks.
All right. That was super fun. I feel like we need another, we could have like a little annex session with just Phil and Brielle talking about video games
Did we get the new, speaking of video games, did we get the new outro music on here from Nicky Flower?
I believe so. We'll see.
I'm gonna drop that on Bandcamp probably.
Nice.